Hey there, brothers and sisters. Vessel of Truth here, Jay from Virginia for the new people. And didn't plan on doing a video today, but actually had time to kind of catch up on some news and just, see what was going on in YouTube land, and seeing quite a bit of things that kind of bothered me. So kept seeing more and more and more and more and more. And it finally just disgusted me, and had to go and, get with the Father for a while. And, first and foremost, I'm not into, fear porn or, trying to make people afraid or anything like that. Because, with us, true children of Yahuah, there is no fear. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing that man can do to us, other than kill our mortal body. They can't touch our soul. All they can do is set us free from this world to our home. But I guess we'll start from the beginning. And, some of this stuff I've said before, but after praying and that, I just kind of want to share what's on my heart, my mind, and I couldn't get past, just not saying something. So, there's all kinds of little things going on to keep people distracted. But the overall picture, is controlled by those who somehow got the name the elites. The people behind the scenes that, control the puppets that we see. Our so-called politician leaders, and those of other countries. They try to make us think that we're all separated, good guys, bad guys, so on and so forth. But it's not the truth. They're all in on it together. Everything that's going on now, has been planned for a long, long time, and we're just watching it play out. If you don't believe me, go back and read Albert Pike's writing. Everything he said, in his writings from World War I, World War II, and so on, has come to pass, just as, he has said. But, on that note, these people that are behind the scenes, they know what's going on. And they know, that their actions that they're having these leaders do, they know what we, the little people, the working people, are doing. Because, they have controlled opposition pushing us in certain directions. You have all these people, the prepper channels and so on and so forth, pushing their little gadgets. You have, people, pushing, get solar stuff, get Faraday bags, get this, get that, get this, get that. And, some things may be all right, but, think about it. The elite people behind the scenes, they own everything. So everything that we do, whenever they, steer the people to buy guns or ammo or solar equipment or, radios or, warm clothing or Faraday bags, you name it. They're getting rich off of this stuff. And who is to say that any of this stuff is going to help you? Let me explain. The word of Yahuah does not stutter. Nowhere does it say that we need to, get our beans, bullets, and Band-Aids and, provisions and so on and so forth and take off and survive till he comes. No, it doesn't say that. It does say that we'll be rounded up and we'll be captured, and we will suffer tribulation. Be thou faithful unto the end, and he'll give us a crown of life. The world stage is that, a stage. They have been doing this a long time, and they have, demonic entities, fallen angelic beings that, don't die, that are pushing this from generation to generation to generation. And here we are, caught in the middle of it. This isn't our home. There are things going on that is setting the stage for the downfall of the United States. They're presenting, the leader of our country right now as an incompetent fool. And, I'm no man's judge, but, they are portraying him that way. That he can't form a sentence, he's senile, so on and so forth. And, at the same time, they're talking about all these marvelous, weird things that the sun is doing, that's 93 million miles away. Well, no, it isn't. You can't get out of Genesis chapter 1 thinking that we live on a globe. The sun and the moon and the stars are all in the firmament. They're local to us. And anyone that's got a telescope knows the sun does not look like what NASA presents the sun looking at. I'm not fully convinced on, that there's even such thing as coronal mass ejections and so on and so forth. If there is, I don't think it's what they try to say that they are. It's all things to instill fear or to steer people into, buying prepping equipment or stuff. And of course, they get rich from it at every bound. The word doesn't stutter. And, I don't care what you have. I don't care what you think you can buy. The word in like Matthew 24:9, Mark 13:9 to 13, Luke 21:12, Revelation 7:16, Revelation 13:7 and 16. All these things say, that the enemy is going to make war against us. And, one verse you really want to pay attention to is, Luke 21:12. It even says that, in that verse, and it starts off and it says, before these things. It's talking about the wars, rumors of wars, the big earthquakes and so on and so forth. They'll start rounding you up, which, we've seen some of that with, the supposed sickness and so on and so forth, but it's just going to get worse and worse. That's why I think, they're going to take out the grid. They've been alluding to it left and right. Now they're already saying that, this big CME, is possibly going to take out all communications over, North America and more. No communications, no grid, They're going to get rid of the experiment of the United States. Anyone who doesn't learn their history is damned to repeat it. And, history is cyclical. The Bible, the word of Yahuah, tells us this. That, there's nothing new under the sun. What has been will be. What is has already been. There's nothing new. The only thing that's new is the lack of common sense that people have. You know, they have instilled into the masses hyper emotionalism. You know, people are unstable mentally and emotionally. And it causes them to panic. It causes them to freak out. It causes them to do things that, you know, that wouldn't normally do under any other circumstances. There is a urgency in the spirit that people ground themselves to the Father. You know, we already know in the timeline of things sort of where we're at. And, you know, I don't care who you are. There's one thing we can agree on. Time is short. You know, people trying to say, oh, we got 50 or 60 more years. You know, they're full of bull. You know, because the Bible itself testifies against them. You know, we may have, you know, a few months, or even up to a year of good time left. But the way things are being lined up right now at such a fast pace, we may not have weeks. And that's something that we should have in the back of our mind. And I'm not saying go out and, you know, make a run on stores, because, you know, that's not the solution. You know, anyone that's been listening to this and, you know, that's a true, you know, child of Yahuah, you know, I'm sure you've done your due diligence. You know, the spirit of Yahuah has had you, you know, buy a little extra food when you can, and, you know, so on and so forth. But all that is meaningless if you don't have the Father. You know, He is the only one that protects His own. Nowhere in the Word do you see, you know, mankind keeping itself. You know, these are things that are beyond us. And if you don't have, you know, the power that the Father gives us through the Holy Spirit, you're not going to stand. And, you know, we that are of the Church of Philadelphia, we are going to have to go through some things. We are going to have some trials and tribulations. You know, the Word does not stutter. And I just see this overwhelming attitude, even in the four-wall indoctrination centers and other supposed Christian-oriented channels on YouTube, that, you know, everything's going to be fine and dandy, you know, that we're coming into a time of prosperity and, you know, all this stuff. It's just not so. And, you know, I'm not being doom and gloom. I'm being real. And I know that everyone out there that truly has a relationship with the Father knows this already. You know, that we're headed for hard times. This experiment that they started called the United States, a place, you know, where people could go and be free and, you know, have, you know, great lives and make fortunes and, you know, so on and so forth, was good for us, but it was better for those behind the scenes. And now, you know, it's come to the point to where they've used the United States for the purpose it was made for, and now it has to be dealt with. So now you're seeing, you know, all the other nations turn against us. You're seeing, you know, these supposed sanctions that were put on Russia because Russia was being bad, when basically the United States and NATO are the ones that caused this incident. Basically just the Cuban Missile Crisis in reverse. We're putting our missiles on their border, and hey, we wouldn't want it on this country, neither should they want it over there. So they did what they had to do for their country, and it's all part of the script. So these sanctions, of course, our fearless leader that we have, he supposedly messed up and let the cat out of the bag that the sanctions aren't just for Russia, but they're for us. And that's true. But in the meantime, those sanctions allowed Putin to pull out the card to get away from the petrodollar. See, the United States is only the world power because everybody has to have our currency. Makes us rich. Everybody has to deal in our money. That's coming to an end. Russia is now backing their ruble with gold. They cut us off from, buying and selling with them. They're, making a deal with China. China is going to back their yen with gold, and they're both, making a deal with Saudi Arabia where we get the rest of our oil. See, we have the ability to be totally oil dependent on ourselves and export to, the other countries, but that's not what the elites want. They want this place that was, an experiment to end. And, not only does this country need to no longer be a world power, but they need to deal with the people too. And, they have run many, many experiments, tests, and all that on what would happen in a grid down situation. Just the amount of violence and panic, I think the worst predictions was within 6 months, 90% of the United States citizens would no longer be alive. But then you have that part of what about leaders? Well, that's why I think they're going to bring in a war. The United States has always been known about pushing other countries into making them do what we want them to do. I'm a firm believer, nuclear weapons don't exist, but they do have things that are far worse than nuclear weapons. And we're coming to a time when push is coming to shove, and they want this war because they want to downsize population in a hurry for their Great Reset. The whole Klaus Schwab thing. And this goes right along with biblical prophecy. It will set the stage for, out of the total chaos and destruction on this realm, for a one world leader to arise and bring prosperity once again. America will never be a world power. The power is going to shift to China. They have everything that the world leaders want: total control of the people. They monitor everything. They know everything that, people do. You can't say anything over there without them knowing about it. That's why anytime you see anything in the news that something got leaked out of China, no, that's a lie. It was just put out there. Don't buy into the charade of this world stage. It's time that, we back up, slow down, make sure we're grounded in the Father, because only He can lead us and guide us in the days that I see coming. I pray that, we have more time than what I think. But, they could be, doing another one of their surveys. pushing the people almost to the brink, and then saying, okay, we know how this is going to go down, and they'll tabulate their data, and hold off until another time. But I don't see that happening. Everything is fell into place way easier than what they ever thought it would be, and it shows. The knowledge of people, of their history, and a lot of that's because of the school system. They're not being taught. Parents for the longest time have failed. They've sent their children away for 8 or more hours a day to strangers to have them teach them and be a babysitter to them, and teaching them all kinds of garbage that has changed the morals and the outlook of people to the point to where we are a godless nation. And the only thing that's actually kept this nation afloat was the fact that at one time we were a godly nation. But the time has come to where the blessings that we have so lived on and enjoyed are coming to an end. The Father will only allow sin to go so long before judgment falls. The church, that four-wall indoctrination center, it's nowhere to be found. It's full of fat cat bigwig people, that's just shoveling money in left and right as well. They don't care about the people. They don't care about, what happens. Most of them, I dare say, don't even believe. And, when you get into the bigger echelon churches, those with, million plus members, they're all brothermen. They're part of the Catholic Church. And they'll have their one world religion. They'll have their control for a while. Because the Father is going to allow judgment to come in to wake up those who have walked away. Judgment is not for the world. Judgment are for those people that used to be children of Yahuah, that went off and played the whore, serving other gods, idol worship, and so on and so forth. And people don't even see it. That's why I guess, in my video the other day about Passover, I think everybody should, celebrate these feasts with all of their being, because I really don't know if we'll be able to celebrate it again in the way that we can right now. We'll always be able to do something, possibly, even if it's just in our mind. But, things are fixing to change in ways that I don't think people really comprehend. But if you look at your history and what we've done to other nations, it's coming home to roost. We, the United States, have been at war for over 200 years. We have been the bully on the block, pushing everybody around because we could. And now we have to be dealt with. This isn't our home. We're passing through. But, all of us, to a certain point, could have done more. If all those who profess to be children of Yahuah were actually out there doing as the Father commanded us to do, we would not be in this shape. We wouldn't have total godless societies. We wouldn't have crime rates out to yin yang. We wouldn't have, people killing people left and right, and people, committing suicide left and right, children battling with depression, wanting to kill themselves because their life is so horrible at 13, 14 years old. It might not be a happy message, but for us that are in right standing with the Father, it's exciting times. My heart breaks for all the people out there that are going to be caught unaware. It's one of the reasons I started making YouTube videos. I never thought, I would be able to, do this and anybody would give a rip about anything I had to say, because who am I? I'm just another man that serves the only true God, our Creator. I don't have the answers. He does. And it happens to be in His Word that, the enemy has allowed these fat cat teacher preachers to twist and to make out to be doctrine of man and tradition. And, they've hid the truth from us. And, I want to steer everyone back to only focusing on the Father. It's Him and Him alone that shields us. It's why He says, I'm your strong tower. We run into Him and we're safe. He's our strong tower, our shield, our buckler, our hedge of protection. He is our everything. There are stories, in the Old Testament where, He used the birds to feed the prophet. He had manna rain down from heaven to feed the Israelites. He knows what we have need of. And, some of us, we will die. But we will go out just as, those we have read about. All the disciples that turned to be apostles. You can't forget that the Word tells us that they love their lives not until the end. We are in a war, but we've had it good here in the United States. While we have been spreading our freedom, destroying country after country after country, it's all going to come back, because one of my favorite verses, it says, be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap. And this country has sown destruction and famine and death all over the place. All while we've partied in sin for many, 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 many years. We've grown weak. We've grown fat. And we've grown lazy. Not just physically, but spiritually. All you got to do is look at the comment sections on a video. Go pick a place that you want. I'm kind of banned. I don't have many comments anymore because, YouTube doesn't allow it. But go pick someone that they're not, banning so much. And look at the comments and you'll see all kinds of people wanting all the information of a certain subject just given to them, instead of them going and putting forth the effort and learning about the supposed Creator that they love so much. The love of many has waxed cold. And we're, headed to that downward spiral. And, I want to prick the hearts of the people that will hear what I'm saying. It's not everybody. The remnant, the Father always has a remnant. And, it's going to fall to us that are the remnant to evangelize when the SHTF hits this realm. People are going to be looking for answers. People are going to be looking to live. But you're not going to find life here. Life is in the Father. In Him only. Through His Son. See, the Father made the way. But as He said in His Word, we are stiff-necked people. Hard-headed, hard-hearted, lazy. At one time, the last I heard, it was 82% of the population of the United States is on welfare. But yet the statistics show that only 20-some% actually need it. The rest are lying and just rape, robbing, and pillaging, the system. Because they can. They're stealing. And the politicians know this. It was set up to fail from the beginning. Everything that was set up was only supposed to last so long until they pulled the plug. And here we are. If you've been paying attention, none of this should be a shock. Because history is just repeating. And I'm not trying to scare anybody because, it's really exciting. I can't help but think of the prophets in the Old Testament that would love to be where we're at right now. We don't know exactly how things are going to play out, but it's going to be something. I just pray that I am here and I'm able to see the Father roll back the dome like a scroll and Him standing there looking down. Hey guys, I do exist. What a glorious day that'll be. The enemy's a defeated foe. He can't defeat us. All he can do is deceive us. And he's done a great job. People believe what their pastors say rather than what the Word says. And whenever you confront them with the truth, they want to murder you with their words. The true person comes out. They'll just F-bomb you to death and damn you to hell for how dare you, We think that we have grown so much, but no. We've regressed. And I'm just here to tell you, if you're ever going to get a hold of the Father, do it now. At any given moment, lights can go out permanently and not come back on for a while until they turn them back on. It'll be made to look permanent because we know that, there'll be a time of prosperity come after the total horridness that happens. And it will just get steadily worse from there. You have all these people looking for a rapture. Sorry. I wish there was a such thing. To be out of here, and never have to deal with it? No. It's unbiblical. Christ never taught a rapture. He only taught a resurrection of the dead on the last day. And then, He told you that, the end of the world would be like, the Father separating the sheep from the goats. It happens at the same time. Who goes first? The goats. It's wishful thinking. It's a pipe dream. It's fear-based. I don't know, some of what I'm saying is a bitter pill to some people. And I welcome questions. Because I will direct you to what the Word says. None of this should be mind-blowing. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. History repeats. It may not repeat exactly the same way, but it's going to repeat. It's just like bell bottoms. Them bigger than blousey jean things, How many times have they been in and out, in and out? History repeats. We're creatures of habit. It's time that, we start truly taking the Father at His word and believing what He said. Because if you don't, you're the one that's going to get run over when it comes to pass. You don't have to believe a word I'm saying. Matter of fact, I prefer you go and look this up yourself. I'll be glad, go and look at the scriptures I've given you so far up. You'll find what I'm saying is true. There's no magic wand that's just going to poof, and we're not going to have to go through anything. And then look at the United States, how sinful and putrid and godless it is. If the Father doesn't allow judgment to hit here, He'll have to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah. And I dare say the sin of America goes far beyond Sodom and Gomorrah. I could be wrong, but I know it's close either way. I want to provoke everyone to thought. Don't count on your gadgets. Don't count on your technology. And don't count on the carrot that the elite business people and prepper people are dangling in front of your eyes to be your salvation, because you're going to come up snake eyes. There ain't but one Savior, and that's the Son of the living God, Yahuah. His name is Yeshua. I ask you to think about it. Feel free to ask me any questions or email me at jtt1777@outlook.com, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. As always, armor up. The attacks of the enemy is doubling and tripling and quadrupling. He is out on the prowl looking for anyone and everyone that he can devour and destroy. Don't allow him. We already won. The Father defeated him. All we got to do is see it through. I'll leave it at that. Yahuah bless you and keep you always. I'm praying for you all, and I thank you for your prayers as well. With that, I'll see you on the next one. Keep fighting the good fight of faith.